has evolved for you this year, and how do you feel going into a start tomorrow where you're going to face a good bit of left-handed hitters?
Creaste el correr este año para tirárselo a los zurdos. ¿Cómo tú sientes que ha evolucionado ese picheo este año y cómo te sientes para mañana que te va a enfrentar a varios zurdos?
Bueno, el correr ha funcionado bien, me ha dado buenos resultados y lo que da resultado no se cambia y yo lo mantengo ahí, tirándolo.
Yeah, the cutter's been good for me this year. I've gotten good results with that pitch, and you know, when you get good results there, you don't change anything. So I'm going to continue throwing it. Been good.
Go to the second row on your right, guys.
This is going to be in Spanish. Carlos Nava, ESPN International. Framber, un gusto saludarte. Tienes experiencia en Serie Mundial, es la tercera ronda de estos playoffs. ¿Qué has hecho diferente para convertirte en el lanzador que has sido durante esta postemporada y cómo piensas atacar mañana a los bateadores de los Phillies?
Lo que me ha hecho diferente es la mentalidad, cómo pensar antes de jugar, analizar antes de jugar, practicar bien, trabajar bien a los bateadores, concentrarme en el montículo y simplemente le jugaremos a los Phillies hoy y mañana intenso, sacando out, tirando strike, atacando mucho la zona y nada, como siempre he venido jugando la temporada, enfocado.
Gentlemen, do you have that one?
Yeah. Question was, how has Framber changed his postseason and plan of attack for tomorrow against the Phillies? Framber said biggest thing that's changed, I think, is the mentality, just analyzing the hitters and just the way I practice, just a lot of other things, just trying to stay focused on the mound. And I think for attacking the hitters tomorrow, I'm just going to throw as many strikes as I can and attack them inside the strike zone.
Thank you, sir. We'll go to Mark and then Ron.
Thanks. Framber, what does it mean to you to be in this position starting Game 2 of the World Series?
¿Qué significa para ti estar en esta posición y empezar el segundo juego de la Serie Mundial? ¿Qué significa para ti estar en esta posición y empezar el segundo juego de la Serie Mundial?
Significa mucho para mí, es valioso en mi carrera. Abrir el segundo juego de la Serie Mundial es bueno, me siento cómodo ahí y simplemente seguir enfocado y seguir haciendo el trabajo que vengo haciendo y darle un buen partido al equipo.
Yeah, it means a lot for me. It means a lot for my career, and honestly, just feel good there. Just continue doing what I've been doing, continue doing the work, and throw a good game for the team.
Go to Ron.
Framber, what did you learn from your 2 World Series starts last year, and looking back, why didn't they go as well as you had hoped?
¿Qué aprendiste sobre las dos salidas tuyas del año pasado de la Serie Mundial y por qué piensas que no salieron como esperabas?
Bueno, yo pienso que fue el deseo de jugar, la emoción pudo conmigo y pienso que tengo solamente controlar las emociones, seguir actuando como venimos actuando y jugar intenso y no perder el ritmo del juego.
Yeah, I think last year my emotions got the better of me during the World Series. I think the key for this year is just continue doing what I've been doing, try not to let the game get away from me, and I think we'll get good results there.
Go to the first row on your left, and then Danielle.
Framber, buenas tardes. TUDN Radio Houston. ¿Cuál es la diferencia de este Framber Valdez de este año en esta Serie Mundial comparado al año pasado? Y segunda pregunta, ¿cómo te sientes de que tus compañeros anden con la playera de Framber? Acabamos de ver a Chaz McCormick y varios de tus compañeros. ¿Qué se siente? In English, first of all, what's the difference between this Framber Valdez from this year to last year's World Series? And how do you feel about your teammates wearing your Framber shirt?
Bueno, yo pienso que la única diferencia que he tenido del año pasado es la más consistencia este año, que he tenido mucha consistencia en lo que hago. He tenido más logros que el año pasado también, eso es lo que puedo decirte por ahora. Y de la playera que se ponen los muchachos mía, me siento muy contento por lo que yo he hecho y por lo que yo he logrado con ellos también, que han sido parte de esos logros. Y me siento contento al ver que los muchachos usan mi playera, usan mi apellido y me siento bien por eso.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference from last year to this year has been the consistency. I think I've been a little bit more consistent this year on everything that I've done and feel good with the results that I've gotten and hopefully continue to get more. In terms of the shirt, I feel really happy that the guys feel comfortable wearing my shirt. Obviously, I've accomplished a lot this year and I've accomplished a lot with these guys. So I do feel very proud that they feel comfortable enough to wear my last name on them.
About 5 rows back on your right, Danielle.
Can you outline the process of adding a new pitch to your arsenal, and how do you decide when it's ready?
¿Puedes hablar del proceso de agregar un nuevo picheo y cuándo decides que está listo el picheo para tirar el juego? El proceso de agregar un picheo nuevo, ¿cuál es?
Simplemente analizarlo con tu pitching coach y preguntarle, tú tirarlo y dejar que ellos digan si el picheo está adecuado para jugar en Grandes Ligas o no está adecuado, o el picheo no tiene, por ejemplo, como que, mira, si tú vas a tirar una curva o quieres tirar un core o quieres tirar un split, ese picheo hay que analizarlo, hay que verlo, hay que ver la consistencia que tiene en la zona de strike y saber, o si no, no se puede aprobar ningún picheo así por así.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just throwing the pitch, analyzing it, going over it with your pitching coaches, and let them decide whenever they think it's ready to be thrown in a major league game, whether it's a curveball, cutter, split. We got to throw those pitches and see how many times we can get inside the strike zone, and then we come into determination with our pitching coaches to then say, okay, we feel comfortable throwing this pitch inside of the game.
Third row on your left, guys.
Framber, es la cuarta Serie Mundial en los últimos 6 años, tercera para ti. ¿Qué hace diferente este equipo de los años anteriores? Question in English was, it's the fourth World Series in the last 6 years. There for you, what makes this team different from the previous ones?
Bueno, no sé decirte de los años anteriores, simplemente te puedo decir del 2018 para acá, aquí en Grandes Ligas, de que, bueno, lo que yo he visto es de que el equipo es unido, el equipo se apoya, nos corregimos también entre nosotros mismos, no tenemos que esperar tampoco que un pitching coach o el manager nos diga la cosa, nosotros mismos que jugamos en el terreno, que sabemos las cosas del terreno, nos ayudamos también al junto del manager o del pitching coach, y eso es lo que nos ha hecho bueno, que nosotros trabajamos juntos y conversamos algunas cosas que pueden faltarnos o cosas que nos pueden afectar, y eso nos ayuda bastante en el juego y fuera del juego.
Yeah, I could speak on 2018 forward. I think the biggest thing is that this team is united. We try to help each other out, give each other advices. If we see something that needs to be corrected, we don't try to wait for a pitching coach to necessarily come to us. We try to help each other out in that regard. And I think that's kind of been one of the reasons why we've been able to be so successful the last couple of years.
Take a couple more in the third row in the middle here.
Framber, ¿qué me puedes decir de la alineación de los Phillies? Tienen a un Bryce Harper que está bateando arriba de 400. ¿Qué reto puede presentar esto para ti como abridor? Question is talk about the Phillies lineup, in particular Bryce Harper, who's batting above 400.
Bueno, la rotación de ellos es una rotación que la gente se dice que está bien, que es una rotación que batea mucho, pero también la de nosotros batea mucho. Nosotros tenemos buenos picheos, tenemos tenemos hierro para jugar contra ellos, no importa si el bateo está bien o está mal. Lo importante es que nosotros sabemos lo que tenemos, sabemos con qué vamos a jugar, sabemos cómo vamos a entrar, y nada, lo importante es que mi equipo está bien, saludable, y que sepamos jugar contra ellos.
Yeah, I think we all hear about the great lineup that they have, but we feel really comfortable, again, with our lineup and our pitching staff as well. We know what we can do, what we can accomplish there, and we also feel really good that we're all healthy coming into this series and know that we can execute our pitches.
Last question or two for Framber. All right, Framber, continued success. Jen Lloyd, thank you.
So when you look at it now, I think we tallied up that things come around and go around, and a third of the managers in Major League Baseball now are over 60. Mm-hmm. What do you think has happened in the transition over the last, obviously you're part of it. What do you think's going on in baseball right now when it comes to that?
I don't know. Maybe people realize that, it takes years to hone your craft. And also, the need to intertwine modern baseball and older baseball, and the fact that, these guys are human, and they're, human beings, and they're not just numbers. And, I'm glad that, I've had some relative success. I'm glad that Bucky and Snitker and these guys have had relative success where, you're more trusted at this point in our lives.
And how much are you allowed to use the human element in what you do to make decisions?
I don't know if allowed is the right word, I just do it, and but I use numbers. I've always used numbers. That's what people don't understand. I've used numbers since the day that I started. I'm not just some dude that was just out there just pulling some stuff out the sky. Like I'm a calculated type person, and also I'm a Gemini, but I'm also, on the other hand, sometimes it's about feelings.
Go to Christy in the second row, and then
That's
Chandler.
hard to explain, man. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain me because I've been told that I was weird and stuff most of my life. So it's like I just accepted it.
Go to Christy and then Chandler.
I'm sure you've heard from a ton of people in this week. Would you be able to share any of your top messages or interesting, interactions you've had from people, like wishing you good luck or something heading into the game?
All my homeboys, some homegirls, some from, let me see, some Snoop Dogg, a couple rappers, local dudes, coaches I had, Bill Cosby, just different people that I've known, through in my life.
Can you tell us the other two rappers besides Snoop Dogg?
Now you're putting pressure on me. They were local.
We'll go to Chandler, then Jim.
Dusty, how's Gary Pettis doing?
He's doing good. He's doing real good. He's been cleared by the doctor. And so he'll be back at third tonight. I didn't think he was going to be, but, he wants to be. He did everything that was needed to, to clear the protocols of health, and so he's doing great.
Go to Jim near the back, and then Tim.
Dusty, is this the most talented team you've ever managed? And if not, where does it rank?
It's one of them. I can't say the most because good teams that you have are different. They have different strengths and different weaknesses. This is probably the team that expects to win more than any other team that I've had, because they were expected to win when I got here because they expect to win. And they're used to winning. And, I've had some good teams, but this team, they really don't like losing, period. And they can take you a long ways.
Go to Tim in the back, then Scott.
Justin Verlander has said in the past that he wants to pitch until he's 45.
Mm-hmm.
Given what you saw from him this year, coming back from the surgery at 39, what do you think of another half-decade plus of Justin Verlander, Major League pitcher?
I don't see why not. I mean, his arms, everybody keeps talking about 39, but you look at Jim Cott, Jim Cott, Tommy John. Tommy had a new arm. Jim Cott, there's a lot of guys that pitched. Warren Spahn. Satchel Paige was 60-something when I played with him in Atlanta. So a lot of it depends on your body type, depends on your desire to win. And, if you've made enough money, and some guys say, that's enough or whatever it is, but also your tolerance of pain that I've learned over the course of years when you get tired of pain. And now he has another arm. I wouldn't put anything past Verlander.
Go to Scott standing in the back, then Brian.
Dusty, what do you remember from Bregman with his wrist injury last year at this time in the World Series and how different he looks, a year later?
What's that now?
What do you remember last year from Bregman with his wrist injury in the World Series? He had surgery soon after, and what you're seeing, the version of him now entering this series.
Yeah, well, this is the real Bregman, and there's even some more better Bregman in there from a guy that had 4 wrist operations, I know, or hand operations, I know how important your hands are, you know, and, you know, we take our hands for granted, you know, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, eating, bathing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you take for granted, and, you know, when it's in your hands and you're a hitter, that stops and starts the bat. And, you know, I felt badly for him because I know what he was going through.
Go to Brian on the left, the third row on the left.
Dusty, about a year ago, you mentioned you still had unfinished business, and you almost vowed that you guys would be back after how it ended last year. What's it mean for you personally with this club to be back here on this stage, to be able to potentially finish this the right way?
Well, I mean, you're always, in life, I'm a goal-oriented person, and it means that we met one goal and got another goal to go. You know, I mean, how many times we set goals? Well, we set goals every New Year's resolution, and by April we forget what we were going to do. You know, so this was New Year's resolution, and now it's not New Year's, but it's a year removed.
Go to the fourth row on your right over here.
Dusty, in terms of makeup or stuff, what's the biggest difference you've seen in Framber heading into this World Series compared to last year?
Well, he's about the same, but I mean, he's more mature. I mean, you're wasting your time if you don't try to get better in this game, especially as a young player. I mean, it seems as if we all want finished products before they even finished, and it takes time. It takes time. It takes trial and error. Takes successes and takes some failures to get to this point. And, you know, the more success that you have, then the more confidence that you have. And right now, Framber's, you know, at a very high level of confidence. And I also think that having JV around, somebody to keep up with or to compare to, you know, has always helped.
Got 3 more teed up, the far back on the right center aisle. Yeah. You right.
Hi, Dusty.
Yes.
Jose enters tonight after a pair of difficult series. Is there anything encouraging you saw either at the end of the ALCS or just speaking with him in recent days?
He got a couple hits. You know, that always helps. And, you know, thing about Jose, you would not know that he wasn't hitting. And that's a sign of a real pro, where you don't walk around. I mean, you watch a basketball game or a football game, you can sort of tell who's ahead when you walk in late in the game. I mean, it's written all over everybody's face. But Jose, he's been a bigger man than me, because, you know, than most of us. And, I mean, this guy, he's the first one out there. He's being the same guy on homers. He's very consistent in his personality. And, you know, we could all take a tip from Jose on how to handle adversity.
Do 2 more on the back left corner, Mike.
Dusty, was there any one moment this year with Pena where you looked at him and you said, you know, this kid's got it, he's going to be okay, or was it a gradual thing?
It wasn't really gradual. He started off pretty good, then he went backwards, and then he picked it back up. I mean, the key is when you start going bad, not to spiral and stay bad, especially when you're a young player that you're still trying to find your way and nobody knows what to expect from you. And then I moved in 7th to move Yuli behind, in front of Alvarez, get him going. And then when I moved him back to 2nd, and I asked him in spring training, you know, where do you like to hit? I asked him all that. And he told me 2nd. And I said, well, that's the most intelligent spot in the lineup, really, the most unselfish. And I said, you know, that entails a lot of work. And and he's done it. So nobody knew what he was going to do. I don't even think he knew what he was going to do. I mean, you can ask him, he's going to say, yeah, I'd have been good. No, but you don't know till you are good. And right now, he's good.
Finish up with Ron up front here.
Hey, Dusty, Framber had said that he thought, looking back last year, he got too emotional and too amped up in the World Series. How, for players coming into it to the first time, is there any way to tamp against that?
Hypnotize them, I guess. I'm serious. I mean, how do you don't get amped up? You know, and what something that you've been watching and aspiring to get to since you were a kid, you know? And like Hank Aaron told me, it's okay to be nervous, just don't be scared. And, you know, he certainly wasn't scared. He might have been nervous or amped up. I mean, these guys came through, all of them, Framber, Javier, Garcia. I mean, these guys were kids out of AA and AAA a couple years ago, and was in the big leagues and in the playoffs their first year. So the more you go, the more, you know, accustomed to being there.
Dusty, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Chaz, are you a big Wawa fan? And what's your go-to Wawa order?
Yes, I'm a huge Wawa fan. My go-to, there's two: meatball sub, or I'm a big buffalo chicken cheesesteak guy.
Second row on your right, Chaz.
Was playing in a World Series last year any different than what you thought it would be?
No, not really. I mean, last year I think just because it was my rookie year, everything was going so fast and kind of on cloud nine. This year I feel like I have a little more experience. But it's the same thing. It's loud, it's crazy, but you just gotta enjoy the pressure. It's fun.
Second row on your left.
Chaz, obviously this is a big week for you and your family. Wondering, just like personally, have you had to maybe set a point to shut off the phone? Is it before BP, or maybe kind of take us through what this has been like emotionally, and if there's a barrier?
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty crazy. My phone's been blowing up for the past couple of days. But yeah, I mean, the minute I got to the field today, I kind of turned the phone off. Just gotta be focused all day today. But yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, it's been crazy for my family just with all the interviews and mics and cameras. And even yesterday, there were so many people still asking if they could interview my family, and I said, of course. But definitely been a lot for my girlfriend and I. I mean, I told her, I was like, it's going to be a lot. This is going to be a lot of stuff going on the past couple of days, but you got to stay strong, and we just got to focus on our goal.
On the far right aisle in the back, Brian.
Do you and your twin brother ever get confused for each other, and do you ever have any times where you do that on purpose and try to trick people?
No, not really, but we have in elementary school, we wanted to do an April Fool's joke, so we actually switched classes, and our teachers had no idea. Thought that was pretty funny. Other than that, not really.
The fourth row on your left, Gabe.
Hey, Chaz. Where would you, from what you can tell from afar, where would you rate kind of this Philly level of insanity with regard to this run compared to, say, the Phillies back in the day, or when the Eagles made it, or when the Sixers make a run?
Well, since I'm actually playing in the World Series, this is as crazy as it could get. 2008, I was about 12, 13 years old, so I kind of didn't know what was going on. I was just a huge Phillies fan at that time. And the Eagles Super Bowl was a little older. I think that was 17 or 18. So that was pretty crazy as well, just watching the Eagles win the Super Bowl and how they lost their quarterback, and Nick Foles kind of drove them to the promised land. But yeah, this World Series this year, playing against the Phillies, being able to play, it's pretty surreal.
And where is your brother at emotionally in terms of
Which one?
Your twin brother.
My twin brother. I mean, he's, I don't think he likes the spotlight that much. He's a little shy. But all my brothers are excited for me and proud of me.
Take a couple more. Scott is in the back left.
Hey, Chaz, what do you think is the most underrated part of the Astros on-field wise right now from what you're seeing? I mean, there's a lot of talk about, say, pitching and run prevention, but anything that stands out that maybe we don't know about with Houston?
Yeah, I think we have some of the best pitchers in the world. I think that's kind of our best attribute to the team. I think what's underrated is our defense. I mean, even Correa last year talked a lot about defense and kind of drilled in my head how important it was. And this year we haven't lost a step. And I think Peña's done a great job in that, filling those shoes. So I would say our defense is probably the most underrated.
Finish up in the third row in the center here.
Hey, Chaz, can you talk about the importance of winning the first game of the World Series, especially given the history of the Astros in the past 4 World Series?
Yeah, I mean, Game 1 of a series is ginormous. I think a couple of years we've struggled to win Game 1 of the World Series. But, that's in the past, and I think if we just focus on the present moment, I think we can get it done.
All right, Chaz, thanks so much. Have a great series.
Thank you.
Yo secreto el famoso biberón, sigue en sintonía con la gente bacana, la máquina deportiva, lo que saben de Twitter.